All right, so welcome back to Tech Talk Central. You know what we're doing here,
I
Vic.
think so, yeah. I think our viewers know, too.
This is where we take a really deep dive into some piece of tech that we think deserves it and that you guys want to know more about.
Yeah, and we've been getting a ton of requests
That's right.
to compare two really cool soundbars.
Yes.
The Sony BRAVIA Theater Bar 9 and the Sonos Arc Ultra.
Yeah, and the reason this is interesting, I mean, both of these are trying to solve the same problem, which is how do we get amazing, immersive sound for our home theater setup without having to have, like, a million speakers all over the place, wires everywhere.
Yeah, just a nice, clean, single soundbar solution.
So that's the challenge they're both trying to solve.
That's right.
So why don't we start with the Sony...
Sounds good.
The BRAVIA Theater Bar 9.
Okay.
And, you know, just from a price standpoint, brand new, you're going to be looking at like $1,098.
Okay.
You can find them used sometimes for quite a bit less.
Right.
But if you're buying new, that's around where you're going to be.
Gotcha.
One of the things that I think is really interesting about this right off the bat is Sony has really gone for it with the number of speakers that they've packed into this thing.
How many are we talking?
This thing has 13 speakers in it.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
So they're not messing around.
So they're really going for a very detailed sound with all those individual speakers.
Yeah. I think they're trying to create this really, really dense sound field.
Yeah.
So that they can really precisely direct audio, and you know, and create this illusion that there are speakers all around you, even though there aren't.
I mean, that's the whole point of a soundbar, right?
Right.
You want it to sound like you have a full surround sound system, without actually having to have all those speakers.
And also, you know, it handles all the latest audio formats.
Right.
It does Dolby Atmos.
Okay.
DTS. So it's got you covered there.
Gotcha.
So
what's their secret sauce? How are they actually creating that immersive sound with just this one bar?
Well, they have this this technology that they call the 360 spatial sound mapping.
Okay.
And so it sounds really fancy.
Yeah, it does.
But basically what it means is they're using a whole bunch of digital signal processing to kind of trick your ears into thinking that sounds are coming from places where there isn't a physical speaker. So
they're creating these like virtual or phantom speakers.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And that's something that a lot of these higher end sound bars are trying to do.
Yeah.
And to help with that, it also has this feature called sound field optimization.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Which basically uses microphones to analyze your room. So the shape of your room, you know, where your furniture is, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then it fine-tunes the sound based on that analysis.
So it's like a personalized calibration for your space.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense because, like, everyone's room is different, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's such a huge factor in how you perceive sound.
Right. Like the way it bounces off the walls, the furniture, all of that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's like taking into account the unique acoustics of your room.
Exactly. Now, one of the other things that I like about this is it's actually expandable.
Oh, okay.
So if you decide, you know what I want even more, I want to like add a subwoofer, I want to add rear speakers.
Sure.
You can do that.
So you can start with just the sound bar.
That's right.
And then kind of build out a bigger system.
Right.
If you want to.
Yeah. And they have two different subwoofers you can get, the SA-SW3 and the SA-SW5, which is the more powerful one.
Gotcha.
And then they also have two different rear speakers.
Okay.
The SA-RS3R and the SA-RS5.
So they give you options basically for different levels of like bass and surround immersion.
Yeah, exactly. But of course that all costs extra. So, you know, you have to factor that in. In terms of streaming, this thing has you covered. It's got Spotify Connect, Apple AirPlay 2, Bluetooth. So all the major ones are there. So
all the popular streaming services, you can just beam it right to the soundbar.
Yeah. Now, one thing that is really cool about this is that it has HDMI 2.1.
Oh, okay. And that's important for...
That's very important for home theater enthusiasts because this is the latest version of HDMI.
Okay.
And it supports all of the latest bells and whistles.
What kind of bells and whistles?
So we're talking about 4K resolution at 120 hertz, variable refresh rate, VRR, which is really important for gaming because it reduces screen tearing.
Gotcha.
Auto low latency mode, LM, which is also great for gaming because it reduces lag.
Okay.
And even a thing called SBTM Surface Brightness Transfer Matrix pass-through.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is.
What's that all about?
So basically that helps to deliver more accurate HDR visuals on TVs that support it.
So HDR, high dynamic range.
High dynamic range.
Yeah, okay.
And it does that by letting the source device, like your Blu-ray player or your game console, handle the tone mapping.
Gotcha.
So it's getting the best possible image from the source.
Interesting. So it's all about kind of preserving the original intent?
Exactly.
Of the content?
Yeah. Now, this is really cool if you happen to have a Sony BRAVIA TV.
Oh, okay.
So if you're all in on the Sony ecosystem, if you pair the soundbar with a BRAVIA TV, it unlocks some additional features.
Like what?
One of them is something called Voice Zoom 3, which is designed to boost dialogue clarity.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, because, sometimes the music's really loud.
Yeah.
The sound effects are crazy.
Right.
And you can't hear what people are saying.
Exactly.
So this is supposed to help with that.
Okay, cool. So it's like a specialized audio processing feature?
Yeah. And you control everything through their app, the BRAVIA Connect app.
Okay, so it's all kind of integrated together.
Exactly. In terms of just like the physical dimensions of this thing. It's a fairly wide soundbar.
Okay.
It's about 51 inches wide.
Okay.
Only about 2.5 inches tall and 4.5 inches deep.
All right.
And then it weighs about 12.1 pounds.
So it's pretty hefty.
Yeah, it's a solid piece of equipment.
Okay.
Now, what are people saying about this?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
So I've looked at a bunch of customer reviews, and overall, people seem to be pretty happy with it.
Okay.
They praised the clear sound quality and that immersive surround sound experience that Sony's aiming for. And also, the build quality seems to be really good.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it seems like a well-made product. However, there are some complaints.
What kind of complaints?
Some people have reported that the setup process can be a little bit complicated.
Okay.
And there are also some occasional reports of connectivity issues.
So like dropouts or...
Yeah, maybe it drops out. Maybe it's hard to get it connected in the first place.
Okay.
So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's ever perfect, right?
That's right. All right, so that's the Sony BRAVIA Theater Bar 9.
Okay.
Now let's talk about its competitor, the Sonos Arc Ultra.
All right.
So this one is a little bit cheaper, brand new.
Okay.
It's around $999. Again, you can find used ones for less.
Sure.
But Sonos is really emphasizing the spatial audio capabilities of this thing.
Okay, how so?
They say that it delivers a 9.1.4
9.1.4.
spatial audio experience.
What does that even mean?
So that's a lot of numbers.
It is.
But basically, it's a way of describing how many channels of audio there are.
Okay.
And how those channels are arranged.
All right.
So when they say 9.1.4, that means there are 9 standard surround channels.
Okay.
So, left, center, right side surrounds, rear surrounds. Then you've got the 0.1, which is the subwoofer channel.
Okay.
The low frequency effects.
Gotcha.
And then you've got the 0.4, which means there are 4 upward firearm channels.
Okay.
So these are speakers that are angled upwards, and they bounce sound off of your ceiling to create those overhead Dolby Atmos effect.
Wow. Okay.
So when you have a helicopter flying overhead in a movie, you'll actually hear it above you. So they're really going all in on that immersive spatial audio experience.
That's really cool. Yeah, it sounds like it.
They also have a technology that they call sound motion.
Okay.
And this is their own proprietary technology for precise sound placement. So they're using very sophisticated algorithms to make sure that sounds are coming from exactly the right place in the sound field. And they also have a feature called speech enhancement.
Speech enhancement.
Which is very similar to Sony's Voice Zoom.
Okay.
And this is designed to make dialogue crystal clear.
Gotcha.
Which is really important because sometimes it's hard to hear what people are saying.
Especially in like action movies or something like that.
Exactly. And then also, Sonos is known for their design. Their products always look very sleek, very elegant. And this soundbar is no exception.
Okay.
Now, in terms of control, Sonos gives you a lot of options.
Okay, like what?
You can use your regular TV remote.
Okay.
You can use the Sonos app, which is available on your phone or your tablet. You can use the touch controls that are built right into the soundbar.
Okay.
They have their own voice control system called Sonos Voice Control. And it also has built-in Amazon Alexa.
Oh, wow. So you've got like all your bases covered.
That's right.
You can use whatever you're most comfortable with.
Yeah. Setup is supposed to be super easy.
Okay.
You just need a single HDMI ARC connection.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their TruePlay tuning technology, which is similar to Sony's sound field optimization.
Okay.
It uses your phone's microphone to analyze the acoustics of your room, and then it optimizes the sound for your specific space.
So both soundbars have this kind of personalized room calibration thing?
Yeah. In terms of streaming, this thing also has everything you need. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth,
Okay.
Apple AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect. So you're good to go there.
Right. Sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. And just like the Sony, if you want to expand the system,
Mm-hmm.
you can
Okay.
you can add the Sonos Sub, which is their subwoofer, and you can add their Era 300 rear speakers,
Okay.
which are specifically designed for spatial audio.
So they're kind of designed to work together
Yes.
to create that immersive sound.
Now, the Arc Ultra is a little bit smaller
Okay.
than the Sony. It's about 46 inches wide, 3 1/8 inches tall, 4 1/3 inches deep,
Okay.
and it weighs 12.7 pounds.
So just a smidge heavier than the Sony.
Yeah, but not a huge difference.
Okay.
And in terms of what people are saying about the Arc Ultra,
Yeah.
the reviews are generally very positive.
Okay.
People are really impressed with the sound quality. And they also like how easy it is to set up. However,
Oh, is there a but?
there is a but. Some users have reported that the performance can be a little bit underwhelming
Okay.
in certain situations.
Like what kind of situations?
Maybe if you're listening to music that has a lot of bass,
Mm.
or if you're watching a movie that has a lot of really complex sound effects, it might not sound as good as you would expect.
Okay. So maybe it struggles a little bit
Yeah.
with certain types of content.
And then also, some users have reported occasional connection issues.
That's similar to the Sony.
Yeah. Maybe it drops out. Maybe it's hard to get it connected in the first place.
Okay.
So just something to be aware of.
Gotcha. So both soundbars have their pros and cons.
That's right. So now the big question is, which one is right for you?
Yeah. How do you decide?
Well, I think the first thing you need to think about is, what are your priorities?
Mhm.
What's most important to you? Do you care more about having a very detailed soundstage with a lot of individual speakers,
Yeah.
like the Sony? Or is it more important to you to have that really tightly integrated ecosystem and the ease of use
Okay.
that Sonos is known for? Do you want built-in voice control, which the Sonos has and the Sony doesn't? Those are all things to consider.
Yeah. You really have to think about what features are most important to you.
And then, of course, there's the price.
Right?
They're both in the same ballpark. But if you're planning on expanding the system,
Mm-hmm.
getting a subwoofer, getting rear speakers, then the overall cost could be quite different.
Yeah, because you're locked into that ecosystem.
That's right.
Once you start buying those additional components. So you have to factor that in.
Yeah. And then finally, I would say, take those customer reviews with a grain of salt, but pay attention to the things that people are saying, because
Okay.
those can give you some valuable insights into potential issues that you might encounter with either one of these soundbars.
So do your research, read the reviews.
Exactly. And ultimately, the best soundbar for you
Yeah.
is the one that meets your specific needs and fits your budget.
That's right.
All right, so if you want to check out the latest prices and deals on both of our soundbars, we'll have links in the description below. And if you found this comparisons helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth deep dives into all things tech.